Hello, nerds. It is I, the Ebony Warrior, rising from the depths. That kind of sounds like Poseidon. Anyways, today's episode is about genocide. Well, we're going to, kind of talk about Thanksgiving and the ongoing economic boycott and things like that. But we're really going to, talk about and focus on um, how genocide has really formed what is going on in the United States and what is going on around the world, and essentially everything about everyday life. It revolves around genocide. So, hi Desiree, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Sydney could
Okay.
not make it to film with us today, or record with us today because in our research for this particular topic, she was looking at some things. She came across um, this post on Threads um, regarding Palestine, and it was a little. It had to do with what they mean when they say children are missing, and it was literally a video of a baby Ellie's age. Um, you could just barely, under this rubble, you could barely see a little glimpse of their face and just a tiny hand reaching out from the rubble. And that absolutely wrecked her. So she's just not in a place where she can record today's episode. Um, and that's okay, because this is not an easy topic to talk about, especially considering we have people in power who don't who will sit there and use children as pawns when it suits them, but they don't actually care about kids. These the same people poisoning the water in Flint, the same people who have used children for experimentation and not given a damn will sit there and tell you that, or use unborn children, unborn fetuses to dictate what a woman can and cannot do with her own body. And so, these are not easy conversations to have, but you know, it's not like we can just ignore these things or not talk about them, especially when it's happening right now. Especially, I mean, it's happening in Palestine and it's also happening in Sudan. That's a fun one, being backed by the UAE. The United States has its hands in everything. All
Literally.
of the all of the horrible things going on around the world, it's like the United States is the the main culprit behind it all. Israel gets its funding from us. The UAE is close partners with the United States. And the crown prince literally just came last week and met up with Trump.
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
What the heck,
So
man?
everything has to revolves around the United States, and it's this country was founded on genocide. It's the whole reason that we are here right now is because of genocide committed against the African peoples and because of the genocide committed against the native peoples of Turtle Island. Um, and in case you don't, anyone is listening that doesn't know, Turtle Island is what we refer to the land of North and South America. It was called Turtle Island by the native inhabitants here, um, before it was colonized by white people. I honestly like, you remember that phrase in that Pocahontas's dad says in the Disney movie. I hate that Disney movie, but that one phrase he says, where he says, "These white men are dangerous."
Yeah. Yep. And that stuck with us for a very long
It
time, huh?
really did. That's one of
Yeah.
the realest things that Disney has ever put in their films.
Yes.
And I don't even understand how that made it past, like the checks, because especially with how Disney likes to guard itself and protect the feelings of white people. That
Right.
phrase alone.
Honestly, I feel like they had no choice with that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, given the time, the story, they had no choice with that one. They had to add that in there.
Yeah,
There's
I
only
mean,
so much Disneying, I can't even say the word, Disneying up you could do.
Disneyification. Yeah,
Disneyfication, there you go.
yeah. Because honestly, that story, and it's a perfect story to talk about because it really does have to do with what Thanksgiving. The You had white people really don't like it when I talk about Thanksgiving like this. They get really mad. But essentially, you had white people in England who were disgruntled that they could not be religious extremists the way that they wanted to. And so they came to the to Turtle Island so that way they could have their religious freedom, which was extremist in view. So this country is founded on Christian nationalism.
Right. I mean, crazy how they can have religious freedom, but everybody else, right?
Oh yeah,
Everybody else.
no, no. The it's a tried and true formula. What they did to the native peoples. Um, they did the same thing. The British did the same thing in Australia. It was divide and conquer, steal their resources, introduce disease. That was a major kicker because you have people here who have been minding their business for millennia. And you have these white people, and I hate this idea that they brought the white people brought civilization with them. They brought innovation. They brought disease. That's about it.
But
Because
also, who's to say that people wanted that? Different groups of
that
people, different,
that too,
yeah.
the native cultures, like there's this one group of people, the North Sentinelese. They live just I think it's outside of India, right? It's an island outside of India, right? And they're protected by the Indian Navy because palm colored people over the it was several decades ago, they used to have contact with the outside world, and palm colored people were fucking with them. And they just cut it off. They were like, nope, don't want to have any more contact with anybody any out of the outside world. So the Navy circles this island to make sure nobody's going there, and they are hostile as hell to anyone that is not from that island. They will kill you if you set foot on their beach. And there was a white guy uh, within the past, I think it was within the past decade, who and again, this falls into line right with that mindset of colonization. Um, I believe that it is my godly duty and my God-given right to proselytize and spread the message of white Jesus everywhere in the world. These people of the North Sentinelese have to listen because otherwise, they'll go to hell. And I can't stand that anybody would go to hell. So what did he do? He snuck past the naval blockades, went to that island, got to the beach, and the North Sentinelese people murked his ass, laid him out on the goddamn beach, and then
Murked
buried
is the right
him.
word. Yep.
Uh huh. Laid his ass out and buried him on the fucking beach. And like I think it was the Indian Navy had to come and get his remains off the damn beach, risking more people's lives because he wouldn't listen. uh, not only was he not listening to, like the Indian Navy, he wasn't listening to Indian people telling him not to go, which is a whole other set of issues. White people thinking they can do whatever they want when black and brown people tell them no. But it's also disrespecting native people's land by thinking that you can push your beliefs and your will on them, um, just cause God wills it. And that is literally like the history of the United States. It's God wills it. It's manifest destiny.
Continues on till
Uh,
this day.
hmm
Yep.
yeah, and
Infringing on other people's beliefs. That used
yeah,
to be the thing in the early 2000s. Don't infringe on my beliefs, but
hmm
what are they doing? They're infringing on everyone else's belief.
the
Like,
United
I just don't
States has
understand. Rules
done
for thee, but
nothing
not for
but that.
me.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's done nothing but infringe upon other people's rights. Everything's about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unless you are, that applies to us in the United States, but people outside the United States, oh no, 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 we are allowed to do essentially whatever we want. We have to take those resources from other people so that way we can maintain our lifestyle. And
Right.
it's wild because a lot of, growing up, we didn't understand that. We just thought that the American dream was just because this country is so great. It's built upon body after body after body. We literally have the things that we have because of death,
Exactly.
because of murder, because of disenfranchisement. It's even the things, as black people growing up, learning about the enslavement and disenfranchisement of our own people, we still were taught under this system that, yeah, slavery is bad, but you're here in the United States now. Life is better. Life is better here in the United States. You wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And the reason that the reason we wouldn't want to be anywhere else is because the United States either has destabilized those places or would kill us if
Yeah.
we lived in those places.
Yeah, we would be on the receiving end of, the United States destabilizing other countries. It's just, it's the same reason why you say, hey, maybe I want to, live in Asia or take a trip. And then other people always come in and discourage you from that because, well, they live in mud huts. Well, what's going to happen if you get, it's like,
Right. And it goes
it's
back to what we were
disgusting to
just
think that
saying,
way.
how the native people were perfectly fine before
Exactly.
white people came here. And white people act like, we brought all this innovation and all these inventions and things like that. They didn't need it. If there was something that was needed, they act as if white people were the only ones who had inventors, scholars, brilliant, innovators. That's not true. There were Africa, the continent of Africa alone had has had for millennia some of the greatest inventors of all fucking time. They just get
Absolutely.
overshadowed because white people,
Hmm.
or they literally had their work stolen and it was
I was just about
claimed
to,
by
yes.
white
Hmm.
people. Literally had their work stolen, libraries burned, and then a white person claimed it. There, diseases, for example, diseases that white people discovered in you know, the 17 and 1800s were known
Hmm.
by different names, but they were known, and in other continents, other peoples, the Chinese, nations within Africa knew about these diseases beforehand and knew how to treat them. It's just that white people think they know everything and they think they're the end all be all.
Yeah,
So,
literally. Even back then, just, contact with them was enough to just get you sick,
mhm.
unfortunately,
And that's literally what happened. They thought they were bringing the word of God and bringing innovation, and they brought disease.
in death.
They
Yep.
brought death with them, quite literally brought death with them. Smallpox ravaged the native peoples,
Yeah.
absolutely wrecked them. When I think it was Columbus in the in Puerto Rico, the Taino people, of them, like some odd 80 some odd percent of the population of the Taino people were actively slaughtered or they died from disease because of Columbus. And, uh, this current administration is trying to erase all of the, the progress that's been made in recognizing that Columbus was a genocidal maniac. That's what happens when you have Nazis and white supremacists in power. Not to say that, previous administrations haven't been Nazis and white supremacists. It's just this current administration likes to be open about it. um
Exactly.
yeah, the United States was founded on fascism, founded on genocide, and there's no way to sugarcoat that or ignore it. There's no way
Yeah.
to, you know, like that's it. That's the end all be all. The United States has always been a fascist country,
Yeah,
and
and I think it's important to teach our children this too, especially
mm,
given that they're, attacking the truth of history in schools right now.
mhm,
It's very important. I mean, in fact, maybe even after this, I'm gonna reach out to my nieces and nephew to remind them of what, Thanksgiving is, what it truly was.
mhm,
Um, so, yeah, that's it's really important to teach our children and to keep reminding them every single year of what this
yeah,
day was. This is a day of mourning for a lot of people, a lot of
mhm,
indigenous people.
yeah. I was watching a native activist talking about Thanksgiving, and they were saying just about that. Thanksgiving is, for a lot of people, they like to use it as time to celebrate with family, but what is it that we're really celebrating about Thanksgiving? It's the fact that these white people came to Turtle Island, acted benevolent, and one of the things that, like, about white people in general, that has always like terrified me, because they come in with a sense of goodwill, right? The same way that you will have like animals that have, and I'm not comparing native people to animals, I want to be clear, but you have an animal population that's secluded from the outside world, right?
Right.
And then when people come in, humans come in, those animals have no, like, idea what humans are. So they're not afraid of them. They don't have any sort of fear of those humans. They will go up to the humans and they'll just act normal, loosey goosey, and chill with those humans. White people have used that to their advantage against animals for millennia. They've literally wiped out entire populations of animals because they were just chill. They didn't understand that white people were danger. Same thing happened with the native peoples of Turtle Island and the native peoples of Africa. White people came in, you know, open palms, like, we come in peace, when in reality, they had no intention of being peaceful. They came in and they were scoping shit out to say, okay, I like that. I like that. Oh, they got oil. Oh, they got gold. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, cool. And then they go back and tell everybody else, okay, so they got this, this, and this. Let's head on in there and take them out. That is the sum of American history. White people acting as if they're benevolent and friendly, and then using
Right.
that against those people who trusted them. And it's why I
Exactly.
have, like, why a lot of black people have a distrust of palm colored people today. Like, why we really do have a wariness about us when it comes to especially white folks, like, who make like, in this day and age, who make their entire, personality being an ally. That
Yeah.
always feels off.
It
There's
it it
always
does.
like, I
Yeah.
understand that white people, like, there are certain white people who have those good intentions and are doing the work. But
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, not sometimes, almost every single time I have had my, like, black spider senses go off about one of those people,
Hmm.
something will come out later showing that they were a snake in the grass.
Yeah.
That they had some shit going on behind the scenes, or that they had done something, or they were doing something. You know, like for example, there's I don't know if you know who Dean Withers is.
Yes, I do.
Dean, yeah. So Dean Withers made his whole thing is debate, debate, debate. I hate people who do this, like make their entire platform debating. There is no debating human rights. Like,
Yes, thank you.
what are we doing? Like, we're making money off of debating people about marginalized communities that you're not a part of.
Hmm.
That that's already
Right.
weird. But
The
then
same
when
guy who cried for Charlie Kirk.
exactly that. When Charlie Kirk died, he goes and cries, and everybody's like, "Why are we crying for
But I
Charlie Kirk?"
thought,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, like Charlie Kirk is your mortal enemy. Like he's literally,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying like you have to celebrate his demise, but why are we crying over a white supremacist, a Nazi? Like why are we crying over this man? And it almost
Yeah.
feels like you're crying over losing a meal ticket.
That's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's and this is exactly why a lot of people of color have a hard time allowing white people into our space.
Huh?
You know, if anything, for me personally, I'm very observant with not just white people, everyone that I allow into my space, just to see what they're going to do, just to see if you are that quote unquote ally or friend that you claim to be. I think that moment with Dean Withers helped prove even more why we choose not to really have a lot of white people in our space because history shows what happens,
Yeah.
the betrayal.
What I want them to do, like white people to do, is to walk the walk. I don't
Yes.
need you to come up to me and say things like, I'm a friend, I'm an ally. You should, we should partner up and be buddy, but no. You don't need
Mm,
to do that. I don't have to be friends with you for you to do the work. I don't need to
no.
be friendly with you to do the work. You can go out there and do it on your own.
Yeah.
And, you know, because get other white people to help you out. If you're
Yeah.
truly about dismantling systems of white supremacy, then you can go out there and you can do that, right? I don't
Yes.
have to give you cookies because that's what it feels like. A lot of times they're doing it so they can get affirmation and kudos and cookies from black people. Like they can't do the work unless they're getting pats on the back. No,
Exactly.
no, no, no. If
Yeah.
you truly are about that life, John Brown was about that life. He didn't need to have black people pat him on the back. He had, in his mind, it was a divine calling to dismantle systems of slavery. He
Absolutely.
shooting places up, beating the shit out of people. It wasn't about like let me go do this and then did you see me, black people? Look, I did this for you.
Exactly. Yep.
So it always felt like Dean, for example, it always felt like brownie points had to be given. And then after that, people started calling him out, black people especially.
Right.
His true colors came out like that. It's like a switch turns on. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Yeah.
damn sleeper agent. As
Exactly.
soon as the disgruntled people are disgruntled with you, that sleeper agent just turns on. You go Winter Soldier, and
Mm-hmm.
these underlying biases and that underlying white anger and rage just
Right.
comes out. Like
Yeah.
everything was going good for you up until a point, but then you messed up, and instead of acknowledging that mistake and saying, "Okay, I apologize and I will be better moving forward," you double, triple, and quadruple down.
Exactly. Yeah. You showed your hand.
Mhm.
I mean, personally, I've known for a long time. All I have to do is just sit there and, like I said, observe people, and they will show you who they are. I don't trust words. I trust actions, and that's with any and everybody. So if I see you doing the opposite of what you claim, you represent, done. And so, yeah, history shows that, a lot of white people tend to do that. I'm an advocate, but then over there, they're doing something sketchy.
Yeah, and that's
It's,
why
it's absolutely insane.
I've been saying for years at this point that I don't want or allies. I want accomplices. An ally is gonna sit there and kneel in the rotunda. Put a fist in the air, put a black square on their Instagram. An accomplice whether, you know, it's difficult or not, they're going to put their mental, emotional, and physical well being on the line without being asked. They're going to go to the front of the line and do the hard work, do the difficult things, and even though it may be scary, even though it may be dangerous. Like the people who are putting their bodies on the line and being arrested or being accosted or assaulted by ICE, those are
Yeah,
what I would call accomplices. Because
absolutely.
the No Kings protest, we talked about that before. What are we doing other than saying, I don't like Trump? Strongly worded letter, mildly worded letter to Donald Trump. You're not nice. Not acknowledging, the systems that brought Donald Trump into power, not acknowledging the actual white supremacy that's overarching this entire issue. No, we're just gonna. I don't like Donald Trump. Those
Yeah.
people. I mean, on a Saturday again, on a damn Saturday,
And we're
you
back at
had
work
and
the
right
next
back to
day.
work, right back to
They're
work.
not ready for a revolution. They're
Millions
not
of
ready.
people, millions of people could have shut this country down.
Yeah.
Could have
Yeah.
quite literally shut it all down. Could have stopped ICE operations in their tracks, could have stopped the government in its tracks. But this nation is not ready, like you said, for revolution. A lot of that stems from white people's comfortability in their positions within white supremacy. They
Yeah.
may say, like, they're allies and accomplices. They may say that they, are ready for these systems to be toppled. But are they really ready to let go of their um, complicity within the system? Are they really ready to let go of the privileges that come with this system of white supremacy, this system of capitalism? Are they really ready to go back to square one and be on an equal playing field with everyone else?
Yeah. No, they're
Nope.
not. Nope. Because in order for that to happen, they would have to experience the things that people of color have experienced for centuries. It
Hmm.
has to affect them on a level of where they are dying at increasing levels. Like it's just, they're too comfortable and they're not angry enough. And so that's why a lot of us sit back and you call us when you're really ready.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
still act like we're the Avengers. Where are the black people? Why are the black people not out here? Because,
Reading my goddamn book.
yeah, when black people called upon everyone else during the Black Lives Matter protests, during like we needed them. We needed people to shut shit down. It was all about semantics. You remember when Black Lives Matter first became a phrase? It
Yes.
was all about semantics. Oh, well,
Yeah.
it's really divisive to say that. Like Black Lives Matter. I understand. I completely understand that. You're saying that Black Lives Matter. You're not saying only
Mm-mm-mm.
Black lives, but it can be. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It can be considered really divisive. It can be
I am so sick of
considered.
that word,
Yeah.
divisive.
Hmm.
If, oh my gosh. And it kind of leads back into what we're talking about in regards to what happened on Thanksgiving. And then, years later, Sarah, what is her name? Sarah Josepha Hale, I think, coming in and trying to basically, turn it around and say that, hey, I think we should celebrate Thanksgiving. We know the
Right.
history of what happened to the indigenous people, but hey, it's divisive. Let's just go
Hmm.
ahead and, slap a bow on it and say it's about family and it's about togetherness. And
Yep.
yeah, I
Yep.
think she brought that to
It's
Lincoln at the
Rev-
time too.
yep. Revisionist history.
Revisionist
It's
history.
literally just revisionist history. It's what they're doing to the
Yeah.
Smithsonian right now.
Yeah.
That white lady that Trump appointed, who has literally no experience in the shit.
Hmm.
She's going to various museums and looking at stuff. Okay, does this hurt white people's feelings? That's got to go. That's literally what she's doing. Does it hurt white people's feelings?
Right.
It's got to go. It's revisionist history. Thanksgiving hurt white people's feelings because okay, even though our people weren't the ones that died, it still makes us feel bad because, we did it. Can we not talk about it? Like there's again, all of this we're here right now, this spot that we're in because we have white people have never been held accountable.
Yeah.
They've
They
never been held accountable for their atrocities. And
just let them
Thanksgiving
get
is
away from
another
guilt.
example of that. It's they brought disease and they tricked the native peoples into helping them learn how to cultivate crops and things like that, learn how to live off the land, and they betrayed them.
Yes, they did.
Absolutely betrayed them, murdered, genocided. Just
Yeah.
we are here because white people refuse to acknowledge their complicity within these systems. And I don't give a damn what white people today say. It wasn't my fault. I wasn't alive back then. You still reap the benefits
Yes.
of what your forebears did, and you are still upholding these systems. You refuse to dismantle these systems. You refuse to hold other white people accountable. You refuse to put your comfortability to the side and do the right thing or do the hard things. It keeps coming back to white comfort. That's one of the tenets of white supremacy, the right to comfort, the idea that white people in any given situation are supposed to naturally have a right to being, like being made to feel better about themselves. It doesn't matter what the conversation is. It doesn't matter what the situation is. They could have committed a harm or a macro or microaggression against somebody. But one of the core tenets of white supremacy is I should be made the center of attention and made to feel better about myself in this moment. Like everything that we see happen in this country, whether it's a mass shooting or, uh, some kids being molested or it's there that you will one of the very first things you'll see whenever you see reporting about these stories or these stories being talked about is some form of a right to comfort for those white people that committed those crimes or atrocities. That may be
Absolutely.
that right to comfort might be in the form of using a really nice picture of them for their mugshot or for the photo that they show
Right.
on the news. That may be a form of it, or it may be the cops taking Dylan Roof to go get Burger King.
Yo.
It might be in the form of allowing them to go home and arresting them at a later date so that way they can get their affairs in order.
Yeah.
There is always some level of right to comfort when it comes to whiteness. And we don't see that when it comes to black and brown people. It's immediate. The punishment is right here, right now. It's more severe. It's got to be, somebody has to die. Like that's
Exactly.
how it's always been.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're not seen as pure. We're not seen as, the heroes of any story, really,
Mm-mm.
unless it benefits them to shut us up, like upholding Martin Luther King, knowing what his message was before he died.
Oof.
Literally before he died, he
Yep.
realized that he was leading his people into a what? Burning building.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a shame. And then again, coming back to Thanksgiving and its true meaning and the harms that were done on that specific day, I think it's important to always acknowledge what happened, um, and moving forward, never be complicit in anything that's happening today because history is repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because we never really acknowledged what happened, because we never really fixed what happened either. There was no real solution.
Yeah,
to the
there
problem.
no real solution. Most native peoples are relegated to these tiny slivers of land today. And it's like if I had a lot of white people will say, well, if you don't like it here, why don't you leave? You know, if you were to give me what is owed me and my ancestors, I would gladly get out of here and give native people their land back. I in a heartbeat. If white people were held accountable and paid up what they owed black and brown people, I would love to give native people their land back right this fucking moment. Hell, if I had the money right now, I would move somewhere else. So that way I'm not, being part of the strain on the resources here.
Exactly.
Everything about white supremacy and capitalism is take, 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 and burn and use everything until there's nothing but a husk left, and then move on to the next thing. It's like locusts.
Yeah.
We're watching that
Yeah.
happen to the action, like the people of the United States, and we're also watching that happen to the actual land that we live on, because there's no respect for the land. There's no respect for people who are non-white, and I mean, quite frankly, there's no respect for white people unless they are wealthy. So
Yeah.
we're
That's yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we're watching capitalism does not care. It requires bodies to keep the gears turning.
A well-oiled machine.
And it always has to one up itself. And eventually it will get to that point where it implodes because it cannot one up itself again. And
And
we
someone
don't,
always has to be at the bottom in order
mhm.
for other people to be at the top.
It requires destitution. It requires destitution. When it went at the start of this country, before they, um, started using um, mostly enslaved African labor, they were using native peoples for that labor. There's always somebody at the bottom. And the other diabolical thing is using that to their advantage. They'll use the fact that there's always someone at the bottom, and they will say, okay, look at those black people over there. You better be glad that you're not, all the way down there with them. You're just a little step up from those black people. So,
Yeah.
you could work for us, and, maybe your position could change. You could get a little more of a step up if you were to help us against those black people. That's
And
literally
you're supposed to
how.
be grateful too.
You're supposed to be grateful. That's
Yeah,
how
exactly. Because it could be worse.
the model minority myth has been working so well for centuries at this point. You have Indian folk, Asian folk, or well, Indians are Asian, but you have Asian
Yeah.
folk thinking that they are the model minority. W- White people like us. At least we're not black.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
those issues of pitting black and brown people against one another, those things aren't new. It's not something that's, happened within the past few decades. They've been doing that since the very beginning of these systems of racism. When the Portuguese invented racism, that was the whole idea behind it. The whole idea was, okay, so we as white people need to homogenize, so because by ourselves we don't have the power. Even if we homogenize, we're still the global minority. So what we need to do is make these black and brown people think that, they're at war with one another. We have to put them at odds in some way. When it came to South America, that was the caste system, the lightness of skin, depending on who your parentage was, how light your skin was, you had better status in society. Up
Prison.
here, North America, it was just straight up black people are the bottom of the totem pole. Black people don't have any rights. Black people are objects. Black people are property. And it's kind of interesting seeing that distinction because today we're like within the past several decades, we have, for the first time in the United States, really seen um, mixed folks as mainstream.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
first time that we've ever seen that. It was illegal for the longest time. It was illegal for white people to um, have any sort of relations with black people. So you had people who were a white passing who had to live as white people, fly under the radar because it was dangerous to acknowledge their black heritage. But we're for the first time in centuries, we're actually seeing mixed folks day to day and mainstream. That's been ongoing for fucking centuries and like
Yeah.
in South America because that was just the norm. And it's kind of interesting watching the differences, especially with a lot of the following that I have from South America. A lot of the things, there are things that are very similar in, like the racism and bigotry that we face, but there are also things that are incredibly different because, again, mixed folks have been just normal. And
Yeah.
even in England, for example,
I
in
was
the, in
just
the
about to bring
UK,
that up.
yeah,
Yeah.
they got
UK.
rid of slavery long before us, and there were mixed couples. It was allowed. It was
Yeah.
so
A little bit more
that's all.
normal.
It was more normal, yeah, a little bit more
Yeah.
normal.
Than yeah, in the United States.
Still those issues of fetishizing people, but
Fetishization. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
Absolutely. Which that's a whole nother thing. We
yeah,
can,
whole other
yeah.
conversation that will need to be
Whole
had.
other conversation.
Um,
Yes.
but yeah, Thanksgiving's
Yes.
coming up, and I did want to talk about that. Like today is the start of the economic boycott, and what I've what I've been seeing, I can kind of notice now that I'm older and I'm very observant to these things. Whenever we talk about fighting these systems of oppression, using things like boycotts and stuff, you will really start to see these this commentary pop up about how, oh, that doesn't work.
Mm.
We don't need to do this because it's just not going to work anyway. It's the same way when a school shooting happens, you'll have people pop up with, oh, no, we don't. If we do any sort of gun reform, it's not going to work. The criminals are still going to get guns. It's just not going to do anything. Like we just need to sit on our fucking thumbs up our
Right.
ass.
Because
Like
that's the answer, right?
that's the answer. Do
That's gonna,
nothing.
yeah.
Do nothing
Do
is the
nothing.
answer. It's like I genuinely believe it's a fucking psyop, especially how um most of these big name MAGA accounts on Twitter and stuff were exposed being foreign actors.
Right.
It's a fucking psyop. Every time
Yo.
Americans start to talk about, okay, we really need to stand up against this system, like we're dying here. You'll start to see shit pop up. Okay, but is it really going to do anything?
Well,
But
we
but
haven't
but the,
tried yet. We don't
yeah,
know. Gotta
the
do
go-
it.
the well, if we were to all stand up, the government would just kill us.
Okay.
The government would just, and that's, yeah, okay, that nobody ever said that doing the right thing and standing up for your rights and fighting for your fellow man would be easy. Like
Right.
look at revolutions around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Was it
They
without
got shit
bloodshed?
done.
Yeah. Was it
Yeah.
without bloodshed? No, it was not.
No,
People
it
got
is
hurt.
not.
And I think that it rolls back around to what we were saying earlier. People aren't ready for revolution because they're not ready to give up their comfortability, not ready to give up their privilege, their right to comfort.
Exactly.
It's
And it does
really
go deep too because they're not ready to give up their lives either.
hmm yeah, and that's what it would mean. Revolution would mean mm, almost like if we were in the shit. all those basic comforts and things that we enjoy gone,
Yeah.
because you have to fully dismantle the system before you can build it back up again the right way.
Yeah.
And I'm not to say that the United States is not, like, um, is wrong or something. It's working the way it's intended.
It's intended to. Yep.
It's literally,
Absolutely.
it's not like the United States is like broken, or it's corrupt. It's corrupt on purpose.
Oh yeah.
If you think it's corrupt, it's in the pudding. Like, that's literally
Exactly.
how the recipe. That's the recipe.
Literally what we were born into.
Hmm.
Literally.
The same reason we talk about the police, needing to be abolished. You can't reform that. You can't, oh, well, I'm going to join the police and change them from the inside. You can't do that. You're either going to end up dead yourself, you're going to, you know, quit. You're either going to end up dead or you're going to quit. Or
Yeah,
Christopher,
literally
Chris,
like changing the meaning of Thanksgiving. Well, we're just gonna no, it's that's
yeah,
not what it is. That's not what
you
it
cannot
was.
change it from
You
the inside.
cannot revise. Yeah.
It's, it's how it was created. The foundations of it are corrupt and evil and rotten on purpose. Thanksgiving, at its core, is a celebration of genocide. And whether you have turned it into a family holiday or whatnot, it's still, at its core, you and your family may be getting together for family time, but Thanksgiving should be a time of mourning, a
Yeah.
time of reflection, um, a time of basically like, I'm sorry to Native peoples,
Yeah. Education as
a
well.
time of education, yeah, because
Yes.
even though Black people weren't necessarily participants in this, in that genocide, we still, we still
We
live
can
here.
have empathy. We
We can
know
still,
what
yeah, we
it's
can have
like. Yeah.
empathy, and we still live on stolen native land. Like, that,
We're
like,
here.
I know that black people are not the culprits. It's white people that have done
Hmm.
this, but we still are complicit in the fact that we live against our own volition on stolen
Hmm.
native land.
Yeah.
And we can have empathy for, like you said, for that fact that
Absolutely.
we're here against our will, but we're also occupying someone else's, place of dwelling.
Right.
And we, like, it's all intersectional.
Yeah.
We can't have our liberation as Black people until Native people have their liberation as well. Like, Black people getting our 40 acres and a mule, that's not the end of the conversation.
No. No.
Native peoples need their land back, and white people need to be held accountable. Like, the there's no the what always happens is they will try to placate us. They will try
Hmm.
to give us little crumbs here and there to try and get us to shut up.
Yeah, here, shut
Juneteenth,
up. Damn.
yeah, here's Juneteenth as a federal holiday. What the fuck did that do?
We've been celebrating Juneteenth.
Yeah, we've been
So
celebrating it,
we
and
don't
now
need you to give that to us,
you
first of all.
commodified it essentially.
Exactly.
You what? Now Walmart's making fucking t-shirts.
Right.
W-
It's
y-
because they have their signature on it. They signed it in and, here, take that. And then don't forget that I did this for you.
Exactly, as if it
Hmm.
just came out of nowhere. Like, Juneteenth didn't exist until white people made it.
But yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's thanks to us. You have Juneteenth.
I cannot. I, yeah, yeah. They give it to us and they just expect us to shut up at the end of the day when all we're asking for is, decency, human decency, protection as
And to be
well.
left alone.
And to be left, yeah, to be left the fuck alone.
Just want to be
That's
left
it.
alone.
Yeah. So anything but what we want, basically.
Yeah.
Anything but what we're asking for.
Oh, you want to be left alone? How about we put more police in your neighborhoods? That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
that's what we want.
Tamir Rice was murdered. Oh, how many years ago was that? The anniversary just passed.
Oh, yeah, it did. You see, there's so many. It's so sad.
Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. Yeah,
2014.
yeah, it was 2014.
Yeah,
So it's been 11 years.
11 years.
11 years since Tamir Rice was murdered. 9 seconds. For those who don't know the story of Tamir Rice, he was playing in a park with a toy gun. A cop rolled up. 9 seconds. 9 seconds. Shot and killed Tamir Rice over a toy gun. 9 seconds. I'm so tired. I'm genuinely so tired. And it's why, like, I really have felt like I felt kind of like in a slump over the past couple of weeks. Like it's not only like I just finished a major project, and so my brain is kind of like in standby mode because I'm like I don't know what to do essentially.
Yeah.
But it's also just everything happening in the United States right now, going into the holiday season, an economic boycott, dissenters in your ear saying this is not going to work. It's just like I feel so incredibly overwhelmed because even through all of this, Black people are still dying, Palestinian people are still dying. It's like we don't ever get a moment to rest, truly. So, like holiday rolls around and it's supposed to be a time of family and gathering and rest. But can you really rest with what's going on right now?
No, no.
Yeah.
If you have a heart, then no. If you're actually paying attention, then no. Absolutely not.
There's
It's
nothing
hard.
there's nothing like to celebrate. Especially every Thanksgiving my family will do this thing where we all stand in a circle and, depending on how many people are there, it can take a good long while to do this, but we'll stand in a circle and we'll go around the circle saying what we're thankful for. I know I'm gonna ruffle feathers this year, but I'm genuinely there's nothing to be thankful for. Like I'm thankful for family, but it feels selfish to say I'm thankful for family when I'm watching people and their families being murdered. You know, it doesn't feel like I should be celebrating having family while these genocides are ongoing. And it's not like, some virtue signaling sort of bullshit. It genuinely feels like, especially the past 2 years of visibly seeing a genocide taking place, it doesn't feel right to have any sort of celebration when Palestinian people are literally being murdered for celebrating. Israel told them after the ceasefire, which is not a real ceasefire, that if anyone was caught celebrating or partying the return of the captives, the prisoners that Israel had, the hostages that Israel had, if anybody
Yeah.
was caught celebrating, they would be killed. What do I have to celebrate? Like it's not, and it's not like these things. It's not like I earned the things that I have. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I have my family because I was born into it. I could have been born in Palestine. I could have been born in Sudan. It's just the luck of the draw that I am this person that I am.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it comes back to that intersectionality. I can't be free until everybody's free. I can't be I can't celebrate until everyone is celebrating, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. It's heavy. It's really heavy. But you know what? I'd rather us be woke than asleep any day.
Yep. It pisses me off how
Wouldn't
they've
trade it for the world.
taken that fucking term and turned it into some white bullshit. That pisses me off beyond anything. What do you mean woke? It's wokeism. You mean like literally? It doesn't even make sense to me how you turn that into something bad. Being woke, you having your eyes open, dumbass.
Right? Seeing what's in front of you, seeing everything for what it actually is.
Literally, would you want
I
to
don't
be
understand.
asleep while like all of this shit is going down around you? That's what you're telling me. You want to have your eyes closed?
Absolutely
That doesn't
insane.
make sense. You want to be
Mm-mm.
easily manipulated?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hell, we're already in this toxic love relationship with the United States and everything that we think it represents.
Oh yeah.
The hero, and respecting. Actually, I won't even go there.
No, do it. Do it.
Body, no, I can't. Xavier, I can't. I can't. Look at you trying to get me in trouble. I'm going off on a tangent. Oh my gosh.
Burn it all down. Burn it all.
Oh God. As long as you have a place for me to live in the end. I'm
I
bunking with
got
you.
you. Just burn it. Burn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely understand where you're coming from. It's like we've been taught a lie. Literally, our education, and this is like our education is before what like we were in school in the early 2000s. You know,
Yeah.
the Islamophobia that we were taught is I've been unlearning so much stuff within the past decade alone. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And thinking about what kids are going to go through now terrifies me, especially with the Department of Education being dismantled and
Yep.
Turning Point USA, PragerU, all of these conservative outlets infecting schools now. Florida
Yeah.
mandating like conservative curriculums. Like,
Oklahoma.
yeah, I'm terrified for kids and what they're going to experience in schools now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it took forever for many of us to unlearn what we learned in school. And that was based off of the early 2000s propaganda we were fed.
We were at the peak of it.
We were at the
Oh
peak of
my
it.
gosh.
Hmm.
Yes. The movies, the music, just everything.
Every movie had some sort of Middle Eastern bad guy. Every
Yes.
single one. I,
Brown people were bad in every single film.
going back to watch, like, I really enjoy going back to watch old, like, not old, but the early 2000s movies. Those are like the
Hmm.
comfort movies. But goddamn,
Yes.
Islamophobia out the wazoo.
Yeah. Even
Everything was,
nostalgia has its issues. Like,
everything
you're
was
like, ooh,
anti-Muslim. It was
yes.
insane.
Hmm.
And it doesn't, I want
And
to
a lot of
have,
us didn't catch it then. We
oh yeah,
just, it was what it was. And
oh
we
yeah,
laughed. We were complicit.
we were
It was,
complicit.
yeah, we were problematic
Hmm.
as fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can admit to that.
I mean, what's his name? Jeff Dunham. You remember the comedian Jeff Dunham? He's he
Sounds
does
familiar.
he does like ventriloquism. He does the puppets.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I remember.
Hmm. I think he
Mm.
has. I think he's what do they call it when they have you in Vegas, when like you're stationed in Vegas, like you actually have your own show and you're like a mainstay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dang it. This is gonna.
Resident, that's what it is.
Thank you.
He's a
Yes.
resident in Vegas, but I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
he's a resident in Vegas now. But he had this one, he has a puppet, and I'm pretty sure he still does him. Ahmed the terrorist. It's a skeleton with a fucking turban on its head. And the I remember the jokes that he was telling in the early 2000s, and everything was yuck yuck yuck. It's so funny. It was some of the most racist shit. Like, if you were to change that, the jokes and make
Hmm.
them about Jewish people, for example, he would be
Man.
burned at the fucking stake. He would literally
Yeah.
be lynched, like publicly
Hmm.
lynched for making jokes like that. But Islamophobia has been normalized.
Exactly.
has
Yeah.
been made totally okay, and like I'm glad that a lot of people are unlearning that now. I don't like that it has taken a fucking genocide to get some many people to unpack that bullshit and that nonsense.
Yeah. Or at least the genocide coming up to the surface because it's been happening
Yeah, yeah.
for so
I
long. I
don't
mean,
like.
what if
Yeah.
we didn't have TikTok? What if we didn't have the things that we have today? A lot of us
Hmm.
would still be ignorant as fuck, you know?
Yeah. They had it like genuine. I knew that there were issues, concerning Palestine, but it that was kind of the extent of my knowledge for a very, very, very long time, you know? And they really had us convinced that this was Israel's land and they were just defending themselves, like they were being encroached upon, as if
Right.
people are trying to take their land from them. In reality, they're quite literally going into people's homes and taking them,
It's yours is
killing people.
mine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
literally.
Like if it
I
had it, oh, go ahead.
mhm. Oh no, you go. It's fine.
No, 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 go ahead, and I'll finish it later.
Okay. I was just going to say that I personally knew about what was happening in Palestine through my studies of, the Black Panther movement and
Hmm.
how that sort of connected with Malcolm X going out there and sort of revealing everything that was going down, and that was the reason why they tried to shut him up too.
Isn't it crazy how many of the political figures who started like gaining awakening like towards the Palestine and Israel issue ended up
Hmm.
fucking dead?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
JFK, Malcolm X,
Hmm.
MLK. The list is bonkers. The list is
Yes, it is.
fucking bonkers. And I know I said that I was going to go back to my thought, but I lost it. Like the train
I'm
derailed.
sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But the train derailed. There's blood everywhere, explosions and body parts. Yeah, the train is now it went down into a town. The track was by a town, and this is, yeah, children were playing by the tracks, and now there's dead kids.
But relates to destruction as a whole, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that's what we're literally talking about, and everything just interrelates.
Hmm.
Everything relates to something, and so,
I
ugh,
really enjoyed this conversation today. Like
me
as
too.
difficult as it was, it's always nice to know that I'm not crazy, you know,
Yeah,
when I approach these things, because it's like sometimes when you are an activist, sometimes when you advocate for marginalized people, you are made to feel like you're the odd man out. Like that's not normal. Like this isn't the way things are. Like the status quo, people who champion the status quo will make you feel as if you are some pariah for doing the right thing, you know?
yeah, exactly. You're
Yeah.
not the type that's like, well, that's just the way it is, and that's all we've ever heard, especially as millennials growing up. That's just
Yeah.
how it is. You're just gonna have to.
Every shooting, it's always, that's the way it is.
But like, why not take the guns? Why
Mhm.
not? But no, you can't do that. That's just
Not
you're just gonna have to.
yeah, not
Yeah,
not even having to take all the guns. Why not create more like regulations for mental health screenings, more regulations for
yeah. That
the
include. Yeah,
ability to get a gun, like
exactly.
background checks and things like that. Like even that is just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, oh no, we
Yeah,
can't do that because that would
exactly.
infringe on my right. Like what do you mean?
Right. But I
If
say
you
that from the perspective of even being a kid and thinking, well, that's an easy solution. Just take the guns.
Yeah,
And then your
yeah.
parents were like, well, no, you can't. It's like,
There's always
so
like
then we just accept it?
yeah, whenever suggestions are brought up for making things better, especially in the United States, it always feels like you're met with pushback. Well, that's not as easy as it sounds. That's not. Why can't it be?
Exactly.
If the Democratic lawmakers this past week could come together and condemn socialism, if they could come together to vote and condemn socialism, Why is it that we can't have health care? Hmm? Why is it that we can't have maternity leave, paid maternity leave? Why is it that we can't have free college, free dental, free vision? Why these things
Yeah.
that we pay Israel for? We literally send money over to Israel. Why is it that we can't have those things? We see what Republicans and Democrats will come together on, what they will agree on, what they will unanimously vote on, you know?
Yeah, bipartisan. Yep.
But when it comes to the well-being of people in this country, no. They'll come together, like Democrats and Republicans coming together and making excuses about, you know, SNAP beneficiaries, like using the same tired, lying talking points about how it's mostly black people and people are not working, they're just being lazy, when people are starving. Their only
And
source
they're being
of,
disingenuous to nuance too when
yeah,
it comes to the whole SNAP benefits and yeah, disingenuous as fuck. I'm sorry. Really?
shit makes me so mad.
How long have you had your boots on people's necks?
Hmm?
I'm getting heated.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm tired. I'm tired of living in a country that doesn't care about its citizens, you know? And as much like that's it's also been really eye-opening to how much propaganda is pushed against, like places like China. You know what I mean? And then finding out that, you know, China was one of those places where they had the option of separating into smaller countries. But they came together and said, no, 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 no. We need to unify as one country and for the betterment of everyone. And the United States has pushed so much propaganda, and I know now, if the United States is pushing propaganda against something and saying this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, it's usually good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
usually good.
Remember how you and I talked about the fact that I think it was China. I want to say if I'm wrong, excuse me, but a lot of the times they find out about the fact that we pay mortgage and we don't even really own our own homes, and it's like what?
Yeah.
What?
It's
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 because we live in this, you know,
80%
hellscape.
of and there are how many billion in China right now? I can't remember how many billion live in China,
Ooh,
but it's 3 billion, I think. 3 billion people,
sounds
I
about right.
believe. But 80% of the people in China own their own home. So more than the United States, more than the United States.
Yeah.
80% of the people in China own their own home. And somewhere around 80% of the homes in the United States are now owned by private equity firms.
Yep.
Want to burn shit so bad. I want to burn
Same.
shit.
Same. Yeah.
Actually, I did. I got a little bit of my Bernie burn out earlier. There was a bug. There was a bug. Don't fuck with me in my house, okay? When a bug shows up, especially like those little roaches that will come from outside, like
Oh,
they'll crawl through the
yeah.
cracks and stuff. The one of those
Mm.
came in, right? I took some hand sanitizer and put hand sanitizer on it, lit that bitch on fire. Don't fuck with
No.
me. Don't fuck with me. I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
But I'm sitting there like, now tell your friends.
Right.
Like he's on fire. Tell your friends.
I cannot. Something out of a dang movie. How
Yeah, it was
satisfying.
so good. It was so good. Anyways, so I had this little statement from Sid that she wanted me to read. She said, the cruelty of genocide cannot be understated, and the ruling class wants us to believe that we are born to be cruel. That genocide is just a part of human progress, but it is not. We as a people are born kind and empathetic, and when we see other people hurt, we hurt. It is only through constant propaganda and psychological manipulation that the wealthy can convince us that the multitude of genocides in both history and today is normal. And the incessant or in the insistence from the media that genocide is anything but abnormal is evidence that the propaganda is failing. Our kindness and empathy is winning. Don't let anyone tell you it's weakness. Your tears for those suffering in another country is proof that you are above the propaganda. We are stronger as a community. Much love, Sid.
Sydney.
I think that's a really good place to send it off today. Was there anything that you wanted to say before we go?
Honestly, I think Sydney ended it pretty well, but yeah, just going into Thanksgiving, please, 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 mourn because it is a day of mourning.
Hmm.
Acknowledge because it is a day of acknowledgement. Educate because that is a day of education. And that's all I have to say.
I remember the economic blackout goes until honestly, you should be boycotting these big box stores point blank, period. But the official economic blackout goes until December 3rd, I believe it is. Um, I would say December 8th to really stick it to them. But yeah, if you need to get anything, little mom and pop shops, but you are not supposed to be doing no Black Friday, nothing. Like I said on Instagram earlier, some people will say it's a we usually do Black Friday. It's a family tradition. You better find another family tradition to have. Y'all better play some board games, watch a movie, but not on a streaming service. Pull out your DVDs,
DVDs.
dust off the DVD player, dust off the VHS player, dust off the laser disc. Dust off the laser disc. Showing my age. But as always, this is Ebony Warrior Studios with blinding speed, master quality, and untold savagery. May the force be with you. Unless you're a fascist, then I hope you burn.